The scenes at the MCG in the dying minutes yesterday afternoon, the Magpies and the Bombers.
A point the margin. Shield. No one there. Murphy's got time to go back and he'll be aided by Howe. Jeremy Howe. Oh, he's almost slipped over. He's lost possession. Dear, oh dear. Essendon hasn't always taken its chances today. But Jones, oh, he's oh so close. He hits the post and there is yet another element of drama in a match you can squeeze no more into.
Ball's going to go. Charges off half-back. Bianco's out. Thumps a long one. Elliott takes the mark. Jamie Elliott to win the game for Collingwood. There's the siren. Arms in the air. That has gone through. Jamie Elliott has won the game of footy for this famous club. Unbelievable.
I'll tell you what, when we sit down and we review this season, you can go to Buddy Franklin and the 1,000 goal. You're not going to get many better scenes than that.
Just watch Collingwood's highlights this year. They've been unbelievable. They're never say die attitude. I mean, you can call it luck. You can call it the fact that we've trained. We've trained scenarios late in games. We do it every week, but you've got to have the attitude as well that you're never out of it. And Collingwood bring it every week.
Was it just one of those games where you sat there and you can't always say this about the Magpies because they're a polarising team for some. I'm not that concerned, but it was just a joy. It's a joy to watch that unfold in the manner. And, I mean, you can unpack and you can isolate, and you boys are about to. Jamie Elliott's marked that footy and just turned his back and walked back and said, hey...
Iceman.
Don't worry about anyone else.
Iceman.
If he missed, we would have said, why didn't you turn around? That, to me, just spoke volumes.
That's experience too, and an awareness of the game. So unlike Friday night, there were stoppages leading into that. Yeah. So the players would have the awareness out there, but that's an experienced campaigner. We saw young Cumberland play on Friday night, just on the siren. So that's a bit of an awareness thing. But Elliott, for him to go back and just know, look, I can't risk this. I've got to put it onto my shoulders. And he owned it right from the start. So I think that's a critical ingredient in coping with a pressure kick, is owning the moment. Accepting it, putting your neck on the line, and he went and delivered. It was magnificent.
Hero man, and many of them. And credit to the whole Collingwood Footy Club there, because they clearly have coached it and trained it and drilled it, and then they went straight into that.
Well, it's not a fluke now, is it, Gary?
No, not when you see it unfold. And look, they were aided by Essendon, and you guys are about to show us. But to me, there's another play when they're 20 points down, which says to me it also speaks that they knew what they were doing. But for as exciting and how commendable, that's the word I'm after, it was for Collingwood, the lamentable aspects of the Essendon team stand out.
Well, it was an embarrassing finish for Essendon because, I mean, the guys on first crack last night, they showed the last play. They showed the fact that Jones was coming in for the shot, and you can see here, this was great vision from Kingy and Joey. The Essendon players and their leaders, so you got Merritt, you got McGrath, you got Shield, they're coming in to celebrate. Yeah. They're coming rather than instructing and being in a zone. And so for it to play out like this isn't a quick point. This is a set shot where you've got 30 seconds to take your shot, but you've also got 30 seconds to set up the zone, Browning. So for it to walk out as easily as it does here is embarrassing.
Well, I think the opposite of that is Scott Pendlebury's leadership.
Yep.
When he set up the kick-out drill, he obviously clearly had spoken to Moore, and they were able to get it out the back of the Essendon zone very quickly and get it down the other end.
And then, Langford will have his time again because he'll just take he'll take everything with him over the boundary line, and to miss like that was just the culmination of a whole cluster.
So we had this conversation last week, didn't we, where you said, well, don't give me this late in the year, and I sort of railed against that a little bit because it was, what do you expect them to do? And to their credit, they were in the game and they responded.
Well, they owned a lot of the game after quarter time.
So they get jumped, the expectation diminishes, they fight their way back into it. So I've got to concede some of that to you this week, Gary, which I don't like doing. I find it hard to do. But you don't rise. This is the Navy SEALs. You don't rise to the level. You sink to the level that you train in, and that's what Essendon are doing at the moment. You only have to go back to 4 minutes to go in the game to see another example exactly like the one we just saw where they went coast to coast from the point. So first of all, you've got Jake Stringer, who doesn't want to give the front and centre to Merritt. He wants to do it himself. He gets pinged. So right now, Collingwood have to take it the length of the field again. There's 5 minutes to go. And the way this ball transitions, you just got to ask the question again, how does it break down so consistently for Essendon defensively? So you got Zach Merritt, who digs in here. He digs in. This is a 40-metre effort to get to Lipinski. And right now he's side by side with him. And so desperation times, you see it through, but it turns into 20 metres. So Zach Merritt's polled 9 coaches' votes in this game. He's a great player. I love the way he goes about it.
Yep.
But Ben Rutten is going to live and die as a coach over the summer, not from structure, not from system, but from desperation and buying in to those defensive efforts. Because right now, even the leaders aren't getting it done for them.
Yeah, I think it's Essendon's greatest challenge. I like their young talent in the list, absolutely. I believe in Ben Rutten and what he's doing there, what the coaching staff are doing. However, I think there's a dearth of leadership, guys. And part of that is what you spoke about last week. Yep. You know, the difference in the leadership from a Pendlebury. And yes, they've got some more experienced players out there, but they need to start to develop some leaders, find some leaders in those critical moments in game, and I think that's where they're lacking at the moment, the Bombers. And
there's a critical moment for Collingwood before that last kick-in. They're 20 points down, so the game is, to all intents and purposes, almost slipped out of their hands. And then watch Dacos here, the kick, and then the follow-up. Something clicks in their mind, says, hey, we're not winning unless we go. All right, so Dacos attracts some company, and then Chris goes on this crazy run through the middle of the ground where he doesn't really know what he's doing. But in his own mind says, hey, we've got to go. We've just got to make this thing happen. And from nothing, something emerges. Yep. They go back. This man, who's been lost in the whole argument a bit, comes on and kicks 2 goals and gives him a chance. How good's Carmichael in his second game? So they're all...
That's leadership as well, guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's leadership comes in all different forms. So that is the great part to celebrate. The other part, which was controversial, which was always going to happen, was Jack Ginnivan was going to find himself immersed in some controversy again after the AFL put out a statement about how they were going to adjudicate these. Now, the worst thing that could possibly happen was they could make a mistake around Jack Ginnivan, and they did. We've got official word tonight from the AFL. Ginnivan's responsible for the initial high contact, so in their mind they're saying he lowered himself, and then the onus is all on Redmond to make the tackle acceptable. Now, Redmond then had some red mist and thought, here's my free chance at a hit, which was your point last week.
I said this was going to happen.
Yeah,
I said that players would see this as a green light to really make him earn it, and that's exactly what Redmond does there. That's 2 actions.
Yeah, that's a really bad mistake.
Don't come at me, because I said this was going to happen.
Well, no, we're not going to come at you, but we are going to concede that last week there were 67 high tackles. This week there were 35.
Are we calling it a success?
Yeah, I thought it was umpired really well. I thought watching just as an observer that from 60 down to the 30s. And here's some examples that the AFL have used tonight, right? So this again gives you an insight into the way they're thinking. So this is the Bolton decision right here. This is from the AFL. No free paid on the day, correct. So he, in their mind, lowered himself.
Good decision.
Good decision, play on, no problem at all. So that may have been paid previously. So I think that's a win. Then you go down to another example they used on Dylan Grimes, who's found himself in these situations a fair bit. So the player contributed to the high contact, they're saying here. The free was paid on the day, and they're saying that that's incorrect.
That's right. The free was paid for a high free kick. They're saying that should have been play on at the time. And then it's up to Dylan Grimes to dispose of the football, because he probably had prior opportunity there. So you could argue that probably should have gone against Dylan Grimes. So that's shot at goal.
And then the other example they had was Horn Francis. The player contributed to high contact, no free paid on the day, correct.
I mean, it's the eye test, right? I think even in real time, this one's pretty obvious. So what I like, though, is that the AFL have been reluctant to do this, to speak on specific incidents, but now we feel better educated. I mean, really, the fact that Ginnivan again has been the one where it's been paid incorrectly.
And I accept that.
Yeah,
and Redmond has to take responsibility.
He does. So Ginnivan in that instance is absolutely he's the victim. In all of
that. Kudos to the umpires. Yeah, that would have been very difficult. Under a lot of pressure. It was the talking point all week, wasn't it, Gaz? Obviously, the new directive or the re-emphasising of the rule from the AFL about the high contact. No, I thought they umpired brilliantly. Unfortunately, they made a mistake late when they didn't pay the headlock from Redmond. And then everyone's focused on that one thing, on the one guy. Exactly right. So, but they're human. Just remember, the umpires are human. They don't like to be conned. So they're going to fall. There's going to be a little bit of doubt in their minds when they're umpiring the recidivists. More than likely, it's going to be play on.
I'll tell you what happens now, though. Now the reaction from the umpires might be, because they are human and they'll see it, is blokes going out of their way to give Ginnivan extras.
Well, they should.
So now they'll be on
the
that.
back of what they've just heard here, that's officially from the AFL,
Yep.
they shouldn't. And coaches should be making them aware of that. Anyway, there are others that will want to keep talking about this. Let's move on and celebrate some other great things. I thought the Western Bulldogs